Good evening. Call the meeting of the Florence City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carroll.
Present.
Ms. Chambers. Here. Mr. Nguyen. Ms. Kemper. Ms. Wingo. Here. Mr. Osborne. Mayor, we don't have a quorum.
All right, we will proceed with the items that we can proceed with. Please stand for the invocation. We pray for the wisdom to make decisions that are beneficial to the people represented here. Empower us to speak honestly, reflect wisely, and vote with integrity. We seek your guidance tonight. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will skip over the approval of the minutes until the next meeting, and we will call on Chief Mallory to discuss his promotions.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, we're lucky to have two promotions this evening. The first one we'll be promoting Lieutenant Nathan Reddick to the position of police captain. Nathan has been a member of the department for over 20 years. Throughout his career, Nathan has held the rank of officer, corporal, sergeant, and lieutenant. Nathan was a sergeant in charge of the Community Resource Division. He has also been involved in many specialties during his career. He was assigned to the detective unit, a field training officer, a member of the SWAT team, range instructor, taser instructor, and accident reconstructionist. Nathan is a graduate of the Northwestern Command School, and we are very fortunate to have him on the department. So, Nathan, come on up.
All right, I'm going to try not to mess this up. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Kentucky as long as you remain a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully execute to the office of police captain to the best of your ability for the city of Florence, Kentucky, according to law? And do you further solemnly swear that since the adoption of the present Constitution, that you being a citizen of this state have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within this state nor out of it, nor have you sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have you acted as a second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And we get a picture?
Now you got to make your speech now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how you can introduce your family that are here.
All right, my family here.
Here.
We've got my wife, Stacy, my daughter Clara, my son Jonah, daughter Alice, my son Logan, the creepy one. I've also got here my mom and dad, George and Susan Reddick, my mother and father-in-law, Diana and Dan Powell, and my brother Brandon showed up as well. So thank you guys for coming out. Thank you, Mayor.
All right.
Three mics.
Yep.
All right, next, we will be promoting Sergeant Mike Geist to the rank of Police Lieutenant. Mike has been a member of the department for over 16 years. Mike actually started his career with the Lexington Police Department before coming to Florence. Throughout his career, Mike has held the rank of officer, corporal, and sergeant. He has served as a field training officer, a member of the SWAT team, and was assigned to criminal investigations for several years. He is a firearms instructor, an active shooter instructor, and a stops instructor. Mike is a graduate of Northwest University Command School. We are very fortunate to have Mike in the department and look forward to his future.
All right. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Kentucky as long as you remain a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully execute to the best of your ability the office of Police Lieutenant for the City of Florence, Kentucky, according to law? And do you further solemnly swear, since the adoption of the present Constitution, that you have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within the state nor out of it, nor have you sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have you acted as a second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor.
Congratulations again.
Go ahead and sign your oath first.
I'm sorry?
Make it official.
Oh, there's a lot of them here. So right here in the front is my youngest Sawyer. I saw. My wife Heather, my nephew Brennan, my mother and father-in-law Mike and Melissa Meister, my other son Grayson, the blonde-haired one sitting back there. And then I have my parents, Carol and Catherine Geis, my sister and her friend Nick, my brother Joe, his boys, Carter, Bennett, his wife, and Jackson. I think that covers it. Looks like it, yeah. All right. Thank you all.
Well, it is a family affair. Here, we do think of our employees as part of our family, and we're happy that you have shared them with us, and we are so excited about these promotions, and we look forward to the great things that they're going to do for our department. The next item is the second reading for 014-2024, and since we cannot take action on that, I would just ask if council has any questions. They go ahead and let us know right now, and Mr. Hunt, you can do your best to answer them. Any questions about ordinance 014-2024, adopting the Boone County Plan 2040? All right, we will move to the next item, which would be discussing the concept development plan for the C3 PDPO district for the 7-acre site at 7915 US 42 for the Drury Hotel project. Does anyone have any questions regarding that?
Let's talk about that just a moment, so we'll be fully aware.
Sure. So don't have the drawings up here like we had last week, but are they on there? I should have known better than to doubt Melissa. She had the drawings. Really simple. They're subdividing about a little over 2 acres off the back half of Drury. The reason they had to go through the long-range process is because they needed the density bonus that the PD offered. So your building can only be so big per acre. And in order for that building that they're building right now to fit, they had to go through the long range and ask for approvals. There's no tenant or anybody that I know of that is looking at buying that 2-acre parcel, but it's being subdivided. It'll immediately go on the market, and it'll fit in line with, there's the Central Florence Strategic Plan. I think Sub-Area 7 covers this, and it calls for entertainment or commercial uses that would kind of fit in with what we have going on up there along Freedom Way. So that is pretty much it. They're just subdividing the
Well,
parcel and selling it off.
If you've been in a Drury Inn, it's really a pretty upscale inn. And I always kind of divide hotels and motels by this fashion. If it's a hotel, it's got a restaurant in it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a motel, it doesn't. And they're going to have a very nice restaurant and that type of thing. And it might be our tallest hotel.
I want to say, certainly if you look at the elevation that property sits at, it's already at a pretty high elevation.
Yeah.
So I think it was originally scheduled to be 8 stories, but they took it down to 7 stories. It's right there. It's pretty high.
Yeah.
And it certainly dominates the skyline at that intersection.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we'll add that is entirely concrete. They poured that whole thing. So if you're driving down the road anywhere and see a tornado, head for a Drury, get inside of it, because they're pretty sturdy.
Well, when you see that the construction trailers actually have Drury written on the side of them, and they're not using some subcontractor and things like that.
Yep.
It's a pretty substantial company, actually.
Yeah,
Which
they
is
do.
why it took so long to get it built.
This is 7 years in the making, I want to say. It was a long, long time. They do everything right now in the building, the furniture that goes in the rooms. Not saying that they don't buy some things, but they have a furniture company that supplies all the hotels that they own and operate.
How about that?
They're out of Missouri, I believe, is where they're based out of.
Do we have any information on the former Fifth Third Bank corner?
Yeah, that is Roy Rogers, and that is going to construction here soon. They just finished pulling the permits, and I noticed a bunch of flags out there. It looks like they're getting ready to start piering footers and things like that. It's the same ownership group that at the other end of Industrial Road is doing that top-notch
Oh,
building.
beautiful.
Holland Group.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's been by there, but that building
Copper
is
Creek
Oh, yeah.
or,
something like that. Yeah, it's like a cafe, top-notch building, really high-end building, finished materials, looks really good.
and I believe that's a national outfit.
Yeah, they were a little
But
bit
what-
larger.
For
It's
some of
it's
you
like
who
a
might not
breakfast
know
lunch.
about Roy Rogers restaurants, they were rather substantial at one time, and especially on Roy Rogers roast beef. My favorite sandwich was a double R bar burger. And you know what double R bar means? That's the name of his ranch when I was a little kid, you know. And you go in there and you get your sandwich, in my instance, a double R bar burger, then you get a holster full of fries. And of course, he's a cowboy, so that's where he put his fries in. Can't wait, can't wait. I'm finished.
You're making me hungry, Mel.
Been hungry all day.
Any other questions regarding the Drury development?
You may have answered this last week, and I'm sorry if you did. Like if someone's coming down Freedom Way, will they be able to access that person?
Currently, they haven't plotted off any kind of easement to do a Freedom Way connection. So chances are their primary curb cut will be off Industrial Road. Within this concept development plan, there was a condition that was associated with the connection to Drury, and it called for a gate. That could be for fire department access if needed. It's really going to depend upon the end user, what kind of turnover is going to go on there, just the use category, and we'll see how that develops once it moves.
Any other questions? All right, and then the next item is discussion of Resolution R5, 2024. That is a resolution authorizing a referendum to determine whether cannabis business operations may occur in the city of Florence, Kentucky. And we had already passed a resolution saying that we wanted to put this item on the agenda, or on the ballot for the voters to decide. We had 3 options. That was one of them, and that was the option which council picked. And so now this is a resolution authorizing the language, and it is consistent. We had talked about when we originally brought up this subject that we wanted to have our language consistent with other municipalities. And so, Josh,
Sure, yeah. So here's the language that the state has put out. Pretty simple. Are you in favor of the sale of medicinal cannabis at a licensed dispensary and the operation of other cannabis businesses in Florence, Kentucky? Yes or no? So that is the language that they put out, and you'll probably see that mimicked across any ballot or any city or county that's putting it on the ballot this November.
that's the language from the state of Kentucky.
Correct, and that's what will be adopted in this resolution. That'll go on our ballot for Florence.
Any questions? All right. The City of Florence will host a National Night Out Thursday, August 1st from 5 to 7. The event will be held here at the Florence Government Center on 8100 Ewing Boulevard. The Police Department, Public Services Department, and our Fire EMS Department will have equipment on display. There's going to be vendors, and food will be provided to attendees. It is a great opportunity to connect with city officials and city personnel and as well our council members. So come on out. The 37th Annual Boone County Senior Picnic is scheduled for September 11th at 9 a.m. It's at the Boone County Fairgrounds. Tickets will be available for purchase for residents 55 and older beginning August 1st, 2024. Purchase your tickets at the Florence Finance Department or the Florence Senior Center, as well as Boone County. And our end-of-summer concert and car show will be held Saturday, August 3rd, here at the Florence Government Center. The car show will be held from 12 to 5, and the concert will begin at 7:30 and will feature the Naked Karate Girls. There will be food trucks available for purchase and activities for kids. All are encouraged to come to the free concert and bring your lawn chair. For more information, contact the Administration Department at 859-647-8177. Does anyone on council desire recognition?
I do,
Yes, ma'am.
if that's okay. I just wanted to make a brief statement. As we know, on Weaver Road, we had a little boy, Jameson Beck, pass away. And I just wanted to make the comment to the city that this could have been any of us, and to keep them in your hearts. The mother, Nikki Carter, is a wonderful lady. My mom's house, actually, the back of it is against Weaver Road. And I remember the day that we moved in. I have a brother, and he was probably about the same age at that time. He was probably about 4 at that time. And the day we were moving in, he got away from us. He has Asperger's, and so like little Jameson, who had autism, any of you know, it's sometimes hard to help them understand danger. And he got away from my mom and my stepdad whenever we were moving. And I remember we had just moved in and we had to knock on all the neighbors' doors to find him, and we found him safely. But my point being, this could happen to any of us. My own children, spend the night at my mom's house. They could have gotten out anytime and ended up on Weaver Road. So when I was on my way home from work that particular night, from Buffalo Bob's to my mom's house there in Saddlebrook, I was actually stopped by the police officers to ask if I had any idea where he may have lived, and it was awful. And I just want to take a moment to remember him, and also to ask our community to remember that sometimes raising children is not easy, and that we should always remember that it takes a village to help each other. And encourage each other, and just remember what happened to this family, and keep them in your hearts.
Thank you, Leslie. That very well said and so true. The little boy, well, he did live in Florence. The accident happened just outside city limits, but it was within our fire district boundary. And so I believe our personnel were there, police and fire. So absolutely, it is difficult raising children. So please lift them up in your prayers and your thoughts. Absolutely. Anyone else on council? Any department heads? Anyone in the audience? And just state your name. Oh, yeah, thanks for bringing that over.
Okay, so my name's Naomi Leapson. I live at 62 Utz Drive, right down the street, and I've written a speech. Good evening, everyone. In light of recent events, it has become abundantly clear that the city of Florence needs a community center. I had the benefit of growing up at a community center in Cincinnati. This gave me opportunities and benefits that our youth and citizens are clearly missing out on. Whether that be healthy child activities like youth organizations, access to athletics, or even summer camps to allow my parents to go to work without worrying about my health and safety while they attended. I fully understand that a project like this does not happen overnight. The JCC I attended as a child took over 10 years of planning before construction even took place, so this is a long-term thing. Our first step of action is finding 4 or 5 locations with access to public transportation so that all members of our community have access regardless of socioeconomic background. A community center is also a great place for acceptable groups such as Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts of America to meet. Kids, especially teenagers, need adult supervision so they do not get into trouble. I am sure our wonderful police department can attest to answering complaints of rowdy teenagers acting out of boredom. A community center would help lighten their load in a job that is often stressful. Our seniors also need a place to go so they are not isolated from the community. Daily or even weekly events such as game days can get them out of the house and socializing with their peers. Understanding that this is a very big project, I have contacted the Meyerson Jewish Community Center in Cincinnati, where I grew up. The JCC is a model community center offering programs for all ages, including but not limited to prenatal support, summer camps, athletics, activities for adults of all ages, the elderly, and disabled. The JCC keeps in touch and is in constant contact with community centers all over the country. They have offered to schedule a meeting with their CEO, Mark Fisher, mid-August at the earliest, to go on a tour and answer any questions we may have. They are a valuable asset that can help us plan, guide us on things like finances, and offer any support we may need. I invite everyone on City Council, our esteemed civil servants, and members of our wonderful police force to join us for this meeting. We are still in the process of scheduling the appointment, and I have been asked to provide a selection of dates that would work with everyone's schedule. I hope you choose to join us in this exciting opportunity. My contact at the JCC is Holly Wolfson, Chief Program Officer, and the JCC is at 8495 Ridge Road, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45236. I have her phone number. So thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Naomi.
I'd like to add, I think there's been some misunderstanding about community centers because I read Josh Hunt's memorandum. Community centers don't have anything to do with opioid addiction. And I think there's been some wires crossed on that because I think the most the JCC offers is Narcan and their first aid kits, which is the same as any library. So I think that kind of needs to be clarified. It's also a big job that's going to require a lot of planning, a lot of input from the public. So it really needs to be something that's planned in the open. The JCC has actually helped other communities build their community centers. I believe they're helping with one in Arizona right now. So again, we have a support structure that we can have access to help us through this planning process. And as I said, it was 10 years before they even broke ground on construction. So this is not something that's going to happen next year. This is going to be a multi-year process. I would assume the earliest we could even conceive of construction would be like 2035. So we have to have this in our long range, because once you pick a place, you have to deal with zoning and all of the other stuff, plus you have to plan what programs you have. The programs have to be adaptable because you might have the most brilliant program that you've organized and then nobody shows up. So you need to be able to replace it with something else. The JCC does that. Their most recent addition is the prenatal support program for pregnant women so they can get together. So again, it's that adaptability. So I hope you guys would be willing to give me any times of your schedule so that I can then call Holly and we can schedule a more concrete date for this meeting.
Well, Naomi, thank you so much for bringing that forward. Just to give you some background, so all of council could not meet at one time. It would be a violation of open meeting. So we could do subgroups, and that would be fine. If anyone on council is interested in a meeting, they can contact you and reach out to
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
I will let you know that one of the first things that I did when I became mayor is to meet with all of the community organizations that operate within this area. And the Boone County Extension Office has purchased a building right in the east side of town, the heart of the city. They have been working to get that operational to offer programs through their 4-H, similar type programs to what you're talking about through a community center.
So they're gonna build a gym and basketball courts.
They already have it.
Okay.
It's already there, and they are also going to offer additional programming. But they got a water pipe burst over the Christmas holiday, and it totally, no one was there to check on it. So it's really delayed their rollout. So what we're going to do is we're going to, like you explained how there might be some delays in getting something built, we're going to partner with organizations until such time when a facility can be constructed. And we're going to also rely on the library. They are going through plans to finish their Walton branch, and then the next branch they'll tackle is the Florence branch. They will be bringing those types of same kinds of services to an enlarged, double the size Florence branch. We're doing master planning in this area, so there's lots of things that are already taking place, but
Yes.
absolutely, any ideas are great ideas. Thank you for bringing those forward, and I just do want to say there are people who are pushing the idea that a community center is for opioid treatment, and so that is out there. That is, someone is pushing that agenda, and that's, just to make you aware that
Yeah, I know.
I
That's why I
understand
wanted to.
I understand you want something different than that.
I wanted to clarify. I also think a tour of the JCC would be good because it's a model community center. So we could then get an idea and ask those questions. They 10 years of planning, so they can guide us on things like financing, the full planning. I don't know what the full planning process is. We would have to talk to Mr. Fisher about that. But they have that help. And again, it's part of a network of community centers throughout the country. So you have that support of working with them, that you'll have kind of multiple communities helping us develop the concept. But no, it's really about, your after-school programs, and they do things like Meals on Wheels and
Programming for all ages.
programming
Yeah.
for all ages. Yeah, from conception to death, there's something there. So that's what I wanted to do. And I hope you guys, I will come back as soon as, well, let me know if you have any dates. I've already asked Ms. Chambers, and so she's given me some possible dates. But once I have it sorted out, I will come back and let you know the actual date of the visit so that you can please come.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mayor, can I just add
Yes,
real quickly?
Pat.
We do have a senior center here in Florence.
Oh, yes, and we do.
It's
I meant to
very
mention
well
that.
attended. The city partnered,
YMCA.
with YMCA to do that. We received a grant to build that facility, 10 years ago, maybe? But it's very well attended, very well attended. So we have done that much.
Josh, maybe you can
Yeah,
send Naomi a copy of the programming
I
at
will,
the
and I
senior
just want to
center.
advise council as we go through the master planning process. I would say around spring of '25 is when we're ready to start doing site visits. I think it's premature to do them now. You
Yeah.
would not want to discount them from being able to respond to an RFP to do these services on our property, if that's what council wants to do. So I would just be cautious about visiting anything that could prevent them from bidding on a project that could take place in the city of Florence in the future.
All right, state your
I'm
name
ready?
for us.
Okay,
Yeah.
my name's Lana K. Brugan, and I live at 234 Center Street. My husband Larry and I, we have a really dangerous situation on the west side of our driveway. I have photos to describe this problem. The neighbor on the west side of our driveway, the address there is 232 Center. They have she has bushes that have become very large. Some are 10 feet tall. Now, I've written 2 letters to the code board, hoping for help there, but I didn't hear anything back. So now I'm here. And really, what I need is a code change. And is it true that only council can change the code? That the code enforcement doesn't change the codes? Is that
Yeah, the
correct
code enforcement
information?
officers do not set the codes. They're set by
Okay.
council, but Mr. Hall, are you aware of this situation? I mean, perhaps they're already violating a code. There doesn't need to be a change,
Well,
so.
okay, there was Rodney Dingo. Is he still with the city?
Rodney Dino?
Dino?
He's
Yes.
not, no.
He's not there anymore. Well, he tried to
Well, not
help.
under the current capacity as code enforcement officer. He's in our building maintenance. So
Okay,
he's no
now-
longer code enforcement
So
officer.
you're the director. I never see code enforcement come by anymore. He did once, and he coded this lady for the weeds, her weed problem. Of course, she came and protested, but anyway, here's what I would like to see done. Cars travel very fast on Center Street, Chief. I mean, very fast. It's a straight stretch. They're cutting through from 42 to Burlington Pike to 42, and I mean, sometimes they're going 80 miles an hour. Okay, as the code stands now, it's something like, Mr. Hall, something like 5 feet back from the road. You can't have,
So
obstruction.
there's different buffer yards. What I can do, and is probably the best way to do this, is we can do this now or after the meeting. I can take all your information and.
okay, I brought some pictures for
That'd be
you.
perfect. That way I can have our code enforcement
But they
officer.
really don't do the problem justice. I've showed them to a few of the neighbors. It's unsightly, number one, but that's not the problem. It's I can't see. So as you know, when you reverse down the driveway, I need to see left and right. I mean, you just don't get to the end and then look, because I almost hit the mother with the baby buggy right behind me, and she had not called out, I would have hit her, because by the time I got to there, I mean, the obstruction is really bad, okay? I mean, you can't see through it. And it's ridiculous to me, Mr. Hall, that people stop and say, how do they get away with this? This is just citizens that wonder. And so I'm wondering, I don't see code enforcement anymore, and they used to be by all the time. And I just never see them. But anyway, and I told you what prompted me to come was the mother in the baby carriage. But I can't understand how you can't have a fence from the front corner of a house to the road, but you can have these bushes that are almost 10 feet tall. I can handle my side yard. I know we can cut back to to the property line, but I can't, I mean, there's nothing I can do. These should be, my hedge on the other side, which I have photos of, are 3 foot. We have cars, we don't have SUVs, we don't have a pickup truck. Cars need to be, to have good visibility, we need to be at about 3 foot.
Here's what I'll tell you. So if there is an obstruction in sight distance and it's in the right of way, the city can remove it. So let me get your information, look at the
But what I
pictures,
would
get
like
somebody
to
out
see,
there.
yeah, if it's just in that part from the street back some feet, that doesn't really cut it, Mr. Hall. We need a new code. And for that matter, Florence needs some new codes. Our old-time people, all the older people that lived on my street have moved. Every week, we get calls. We want to buy your property, we want to buy your property. They want to buy the property, investors want to buy the property so they can rent.
Well, it sounds like, so
And it's
just to
no-
give you a quick overview. So every roadway has a right-of-way. So generally speaking, you're going to have a 50-foot right-of-way. And what that means is your street's going to sit in the middle of that right-of-way, and that's 25 feet. So then you're going to have 12 and a half feet going up into your yard. This is on, generally speaking. In most neighborhoods, they're about a 50. So you're going to have 12 and a half behind the curb one way, 12 and a half feet behind the other way, which is, in some cases, substantial back into some of these yards that some of these homes sit closer. So what I'm saying is if we deem that there's a hazard or a sight distance, we can have that bush removed. And a lot of times, just residents plant things because they want things to look nice in their front yard.
These do not
And-
look nice.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it. It
This
sounds
is
like
not-
it's a problem.
This is
and-
not a residential friendly. They have big thorns. They are huge bushes. I'm 5'9".
Okay.
They are towering over me at 10 foot. This is outrageous in a residential area. My point is, I mean, if you want to do that kind of thing, go out in the country and have at it. But when you're trying to live and get down, I go in and out all day long. I had girls over from Florence Women's Club, and they were afraid to pull in my driveway. It's not only embarrassing, it's outrageous. So I'm hoping, here are the pictures, and like I showed some of my neighbors, which they're upset too, and then here's my hedge. So would you like to look at these? I brought these for council.
Sure.
Or for anyone to.
Why don't you start with me, and if for some reason we're unable to fulfill the need, then feel free to come back to council. But yeah, I see what you're saying here. Is actually coming out into our street.
Well, like
so.
I said,
So-
a fence can't be from the corner of a house to the street, and I don't understand how bushes that some are 10-foot tall can be there too. That can happen.
I think we can solve this problem.
I hope so. I really do.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you, council.
Well, it's always good to see you, Lana Kay.
And
That's
Mayor-
right.
And Mayor Julie.
It's always good to see you, Lana Kay.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? All right, since we're not officially in order, we don't necessarily need a motion to adjourn, do we? Yes, Counselor? All right. Have a good night, everyone.